I don't know when it started. Okay. Hello. Hi. This is about to be a janky video because I can't see how well I am in frame right now. Anyways, hi. Wow. If I am posting this before like the end of May 2025, that means I somehow miraculously had time to film, edit, and post a video on my YouTube channel since like 2 years. Anyways, hi. If you've never seen my face before, my name's Alana, aka Random Dragons. I usually stream on Twitch, and right now I'm recording a video. Disgusting. Anyways, I'm about to sew together a cosplay. It's going to be a Cult of the Lamb cosplay, and I thought it'd be cute to kind of document my progress. So you guys are going to be here for the ride. I've got materials. Whoa, setup. Oh my god, crazy. I've got materials here. My sewing machine right there. And yes. Okay, cool. Have fun. So I started by cutting out the Sherpa. I had watched a YouTube video on how to make a bodysuit, and I hoped and prayed that the Sherpa would be stretchy enough to be able to make the bodysuit out of. All you needed was a tank top and a pair of underwear that would be fitted enough, or at least resembled the shape that you wanted of the bodysuit. So I went ahead, traced it out. I picked a Sherpa that was thin enough so that I wouldn't be too hot, and I also wanted to make sure that it was a nice texture that I would actually be comfortable wearing it. And here are the 3 pieces, the back piece and the 2 front pieces. I went ahead and I did an overedge stitch on each of the pieces so that it wasn't hard to sew them together later on, because the fuzzy little ends were really trying to come off, but doing the overedge stitch made it way easier for me and way easier for my machine to be able to sew them together later. After I finished overedge stitching each of the pieces, I realized that I almost ran out of white thread. So I had to go back to the store and buy more, as well as a new zipper because the zipper I bought was a little too short. While laying out the pieces, I decided I wanted to make a little tail, so I went ahead and cut out an extra piece of Sherpa to be able to sew that together. I was going to put it right under where the end of the zipper would be. Here's the finished tail. It was a pain to sew because I forgot to leave an opening so that I could fold it outside in, but everything came out fine. I have a video of me trying on the bodysuit after I finished sewing all the pieces together, but it is a bodysuit and a little too revealing, so you don't get to see that video. Instead, here is a video of the crown. The crown is looking really good, really nice, coming out very lovely. My first time 3D printing, I was really worried that it would come out really bad, but it actually came out very good. And then here are the horns. These horns, y'all, let me tell you about these horns. So you see how nice the crown came out, right? You see how nice and easy, no complications or anything. These horns took me 5 tries just to get right because they were too tall and too thin for the printing machine, and I guess that is an issue for 3D printing, but whatever. I eventually got it right, and I didn't even end up using them in the cosplay because they kept falling off my head in a weird way, but it's fine. At least they eventually came out correct. As for the cape, I actually started the cape on stream. And speaking of my stream, this is a great time to plug my Twitch. If you're not already following me over there, please give me a follow on twitch.tv/randomdragons_. Be sure to click the link that's popping up on your screen somewhere. There's also going to be a link in the description so that you're able to watch me live and be a part of the shenanigans. But back to the cape itself, I actually made my own pattern out of poster board paper to be able to cut out the pieces of the cape easy, and everything was going well. Okay, first side cut out, decent amount of seam allowance. Yes. This is the back. I need to make sure I have something that marks this as the back. I mean, the fact that it's folded is kind of like the indicator. But I just need to make sure I don't accidentally like cut that. And then this will be the front. No, I think I cut. Hang on. Okay, I kind of cut it on the wrong side. I cut the fold on the wrong side, but that's okay. Yeah, no, the way I cut that fabric was completely bothering me, so I just went to the store and bought more fabric and cut it properly. But anyways, look at these pockets. I went and I watched a YouTube video on how to make a pocket inside of the lining. So here it is. I'm super proud of it. I made sure it was big enough to fit my phone and potential small little purchases. They came out so nice. I then moved on to the outer fabric and putting the white ribbon along the outside of it. I wanted to make sure that the white ribbon lined up even after I sewed everything together. So I measured everything equally, about 5 inches from the bottom, and pinned it so that I could sew it together later. Then I layered the finished outside fabric and the lining right sides together and sewed it all up. I ended up having to hold the fabric a certain way or else everything got angry and shifted or didn't want to move with the sewing machine. So here's me holding it up and just letting the machine do its thing. I also had to remember not to sew the neck together, unlike something earlier in the video, just so that I didn't have any complications later on. After everything was sewn together, I took forever to fold the fabric inside out, probably because I was focused on the corners so much and wanted it to be as pointed as possible, but it should not have taken me this long. I also went and ironed the fabric before sewing the 3 pieces together so that it ended up as flat as possible and didn't have this weird bubble effect.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my god. It's so cute. I don't have the clasp sewn yet, so I'm trying not to like move too much to the point where it comes undone. Oh my god. It has pockets too. Here's the pockets. Oh, and then it's like, you can't even see what I'm doing around here. Like, you can't even see that I'm going into my pocket. Like, it just looks like my hand's moving kind of. You don't know there's a pocket. Ooh, oh my gosh. It's just so cute. It's so cute. Ah! I did such a good job. Wow. Wow. I had to wait for my mom to get home to show me how to hand sew the clasps onto the cape. So while I waited, I went ahead and painted the design for the doctrine. I decided to paint the book the hard way using a brush and some outdoor paint that I bought with no prior sketch, so completely freeballing all of this. But it actually turned out really good. I'm really happy with how it came out, and none of the paint came off. That outdoor paint truly works. Sorry I didn't have any more footage of me painting the book. I kind of needed my phone for reference as far as what the doctrine looked like, but it's so good. It came out way better than I expected. I had so much anxiety painting this thing. I'm so happy that it looks so nice. The hands. The hands. Look at the hands. I don't know how I managed to do that so well. I was obsessed with it for days. Eventually my mom got home and she showed me how to hand sew. This was my first time doing it by myself. Usually she's the one who's kind of doing it for me, but this time she showed me how to properly do it, and it was actually really soothing to do. While I was sewing this together, my mom sewed the bottom of the zipper on my bodysuit, and I was able to cut the zipper shorter so that it wasn't up my butt during the convention. Everyone say, "Thank you, Mother." And here's what almost everything looks like together. The bodysuit came out exactly how I wanted. It was really soft and it wasn't too hot. And the cape actually came out more comfortable than I thought it would be. It wasn't too heavy and it paired really nicely with the bodysuit. Everything just came together so well. All that was left was to make sure that the temporary hair dye actually worked in my hair.
I have to like back all the way up. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna do a test on my hair. I have to wash my hair. I'm gonna do a test just to see how well the white hair dye shows up. Hopefully it shows up well enough to account for my whole head with this one bottle. If not, then I'm just gonna do the ends and we're just gonna look really cool. We're gonna look like a really goth lamb.
So this hair dye is the Manic Panic temporary white hair dye. It was okay, it just wasn't, it took a lot to make my hair any kind of white. I actually did go back to the store and buy some more white temporary hair dye. I ended up using Color Effect. And it worked just as nice, but yeah, that little bottle was not going to do well on all of my hair.
My hands are more white than my hair. I mean, it did something. It definitely looks like I put white hair dye in my super dark hair. So that's nice.
On the morning of MomoCon, I decided to go ahead and put the temporary white hair dye in my hair since I was doing an Echo cosplay for the first day. This one worked really well. Again, this is the Color Effect white temporary hair dye. However, touching and adjusting my hair afterwards was kind of a pain because it would always leave this weird feeling on my hands that I didn't like. For the twists for Echo, it worked really well. I didn't have to mess with my hair as much, so I didn't mind how it felt, and it also wasn't getting everywhere. But for the afro, it was just a lot to deal with. I needed to adjust the crown several times, I needed to fluff out my hair, and having to touch it was it just felt gross. Next time I do this cosplay, I don't mind it for the twists, but for the Cult of the Lamb cosplay, I'll probably just leave my afro dark. I'll just be a partially white, partially black lamb. I'm sure no one will mind. Once I had all the dye in my hair, we headed out to Atlanta in my casual Echo cosplay. Here I am looking absolutely stunning, yes, but we all know that's not what you're here for. Everything came together so well and I was feeling myself the entire con. My fiance took these absolutely stunning pictures of me and I was obsessed, still obsessed to this day. While we were in the courtyard, there was another lamb there who jumped into our pictures and we had an epic battle as they tried to defend themselves with a soda bottle. There were so many really awesome cosplays that I got to see. I'll try to link those who I can in the description. There was a Splatoon photo shoot that I got to see. There was a lost follower that I got to rescue, and this one guy who had a huge handmade cardboard sword that I got to pose with. I even got to surprise a streamer friend and his fiance. Shout out to Zombies Go Nom. Woo! I went to so many panels, got so many goodies. I got an autograph from Reed Shannon and got to attend his concert. And I also got this epic clip from Mick Wingert.
Go tell your brothers and your sisters you will there. There you go. Thank you.
I did unfortunately lose my own sword at the con, but I still had a great time overall. This was my first serious cosplay and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I hope you all enjoyed watching it come together as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you all in the next one.